Thanks for joining me. I'm Rob with Pursuit of Purpose. Friends, thinkers, leaders, dreamers. Today, I want to take you deep into a line from Shakespeare that is echoed through time. The eye can see all things except itself. Think about that. The very organ that gives us vision, the very tool that shows us mountains, oceans, galaxies, and even the smallest speck of dust. It can't turn inward. It sees everything except the one thing it depends on most, itself. And isn't that just like us? We can see the flaws, the strengths, the stories of others. But when it comes to our own reflection, our own truth, our own blind spots, we often can't see clearly. Today, we're going to unpack this dichotomy. We're going to look at this through two lenses: the literal eye of human anatomy and the proverbial eye of self. By the end, you'll walk away with tools to see yourself more clearly and maybe a new challenge to grow your perspective. The anatomy of the eye. The human eye is a miracle of design. The cornea, the lens, the retina, the optic nerve, and all working together to create vision. Yet, no matter how advanced, the eye cannot swivel around and observe itself. That's why mirrors exist. That's why cameras exist. That's why reflection tools exist. Without them, the eye remains blind to its own form. Now, here's the power in that truth. Just as the physical eye requires reflection to see itself, so too does the inner eye, the eye of the soul, the eye of self awareness. Without a mirror, without feedback, without pausing to reflect, we live unaware of who we really are. We move through life seeing everything but ourselves. The proverbial eye of self. Shakespeare wasn't just pointing out biology, he was pointing out psychology. How many of us are experts at giving advice to others, but stumble when applying it to our own lives? How often do we see ambition, pride, laziness, or fear in others, but fail to detect the very same in our own hearts? It's not because we're blind, it's because we lack perspective. Just like the eye needs a mirror, the self needs reflection. That reflection can come in many forms: honest conversations with people who care enough to tell us the truth, journaling that forces us to pour out our thoughts onto paper and then read them back, pausing long enough to ask, am I really living in alignment with my purpose, or am I drifting? Here's the kicker. The things we often resent in others are sometimes the very things hidden in ourselves. The loudest critics of pride are often the most prideful. The harshest critics of weakness often mask their own. That's the eye unable to see itself. The dichotomy of sight versus blindness. There's a strange irony in vision. The more we see outwardly, the easier it becomes to ignore what's within. We scroll endlessly, watching everyone else's highlight reels, their vacations, their wins, and in doing so, we forget to check in with our own reflection. Shakespeare's line forces a question: am I more obsessed with what I can see in the world, or am I committed to seeing who I am becoming? Here's the dichotomy. Sight without reflection leads to arrogance and ignorance. Reflection without sight leads to stagnation and isolation. But combine the two, seeing the world while also reflecting on your place in it, and you arrive at wisdom. Self-reflection and growth. Self-reflection is the mirror the eye needs. But let's be practical. How do you actually reflect in a way that changes your life? Well, here are some tools. This is a 3-question rule. End every day by asking yourself 3 things. What did I do well today? What could I have done better? And what will I do differently tomorrow? The honest friend. Every leader, every dreamer, every parent needs someone who will say, hey, You're missing it here. That's the human mirror. Silence as a strategy. Sit still for 10 minutes a day. No phone, no noise, just listen. It's amazing what your inner eye reveals when you stop looking outward. And here's the viral truth. If you can't see yourself clearly, you can't lead yourself. And if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. Greatness doesn't start with vision for the world. It starts with vision for yourself. The challenge. So here's my challenge to you. Take Shakespeare's words seriously. If the eye can see all things except itself, then commit to building the mirrors in your life. Find the reflection that tells you the truth. Write it, speak it, receive it, because the world doesn't need another person who can see everything but themselves. The world needs leaders, parents, friends, and dreamers who are willing to see inwardly before they speak outwardly. And when you do, your influence will grow. Not because you're louder, not because you're flashier, but because you're rooted in clarity. So, my friends, let me leave you with this. The eye cannot see itself, but it can choose to reflect. And in that reflection lies truth, humility, and transformation. Now go, look in the mirror, not just the glass mirror on your wall, but the deeper mirror of self-reflection. Because when you truly see yourself, you unlock the ability to truly see others. And that is how purpose is found. Thank you for allowing me to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. We'll talk soon.